What's up, Thumpers? Welcome back. Brand new year, brand new hyper heroes. Very excited to be here. And it wouldn't be the start of a new year if we weren't doing some sort of crazy recap that makes Hector happy in all his fuzzy places.
Mm-hmm. You know it. This is my favorite kind of video.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
This is the Road to Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
That's right.
So
That's right.
what we're doing today, what we're doing in this episode, is we're going to recap for all of the characters that are appearing in the movie Birds of Prey that we've seen in other movies before. Good news is it's only one character as far as we know. Only one character. So what we did a few weeks ago is we all came over to my house and we watched the movie Suicide Squad in 3D.
Okay.
So we're
You were there. What do you
I
mean?
was there. I know. I
we're
blocked
going
it out of my head.
Yeah, it was worse than I remember. So
Yeah,
we're going to
yeah.
like kind of just like recap that movie basically, and also talk about the characters that are in this DC Films franchise universe, and if they have a little bit of history before they showed up in that movie, and if they have a little history after the movie. And again, spoiler: the only character who had a history after the movie, other than Harley Quinn,
is El Diablo.
Is El Diablo? No, it's Batman. It's Barman.
You should just drop that right
Batman.
there. Boom.
Batman is the only one, and we'll talk. I don't know, for a sentence about Suicide Squad or Justice League. I mean, we'll talk about because he was in the movie Justice League, and that's what happened after Suicide Squad. So,
in terms of the movie itself, I mean, I think we're all looking forward to it. It looks really, really great. We did a video like this that was very similar to this last year for Avengers Endgame, which was sort of the lead up, and we went through pretty much every single major character that appeared in every movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to that point, and we even threw in some characters from the TV shows, from the shorts, all kinds of stuff. And it was very, very like full.
Expansive. Actually, that was one of my favorite videos to make because I felt like we really covered a lot of the stuff that needed to be
we actually
covered.
predicted a lot of stuff that did end up happening.
And we didn't realize that Marvel was using the same method to plan out their storyline.
That's right. We ended up going to I went to the Russo brothers panel, and they talked about how Marcus and McFeely were like madmen on a whiteboard, and we actually have a whiteboard over there. Which maybe one day we'll switch it up a little bit and we'll use the whiteboard instead. But
that was a conspiracy board.
Yeah,
for sure.
conspiracy board.
I mean, listen, it's not just Marvel Studios. The CW folks at the Arrowverse, they did the same thing for their Crisis on Infinite Earths. So like, this is a tired and true method of organizing and keeping track of characters and timelines. So we're just going to go through it, and since we are talking about a Harley Quinn, let's start with Harley Quinn. Okay. This is the most important character. Harley Quinn. Real name?
Pause real quick.
Okay.
Your mic feels a little hot.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
My mic feels hot.
Yeah, bring it down. Bring it down a little bit.
Hello. Bring it down. Bring it down.
That's better, muchacho.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm okay, and you're okay?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, I could just pick it up right with Harley.
Yeah.
We'll start right there.
I mean,
You can cut right into drop it.
Yeah.
Actually, when you drop it, I saw it was a cool effect. Like start high and go bam.
Oh, I like that. Okay,
Yeah,
just
that's
like
cool.
we're playing fucking Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep,
You got
exactly.
it, dude. You
Show
got
the
it.
card and then drop that shit.
Okay. All right. Since the most important character in the DC Films universe right now
Mrs. One and
is Harley Quinn, Mrs. One and Only. Real name, Adam?
Dr. Harleen Quinzel.
Middle name?
Harleen Francis Quinzel.
Thank you. Boom, baby. Harley Quinn, most important character, first character. We're going to start with that. Augustine, is there anything? Here's what I want to talk about. Let's discuss the history of this character before Suicide Squad.
Okay.
What's the timeline? What's the deal? When does she meet some of these other characters? And then as soon as we get to Suicide Squad, that's when we're going to sort of meet the rest of these characters. But what's her deal?
Her early on mostly happened before 1994. She was born in 1990, apparently. I'm sorry, 2014 is when things started to get spicy.
To sort of spice
Things started to get spicy before that. But before that, she got a college degree in psychology. She went into Arkham Asylum, and that's when she met the Joker.
Yep.
That's when she started becoming entranced by the Joker.
Who, at that point, right here, the Joker, boom, who by that point had been imprisoned by Batman. So Batman
in Arkham Asylum.
Harley hasn't met Batman yet, but Batman is already active and has imprisoned him.
She went in with the purest intentions of helping a damaged man. Maybe that's why he has damage written on his
Don't
forehead.
we all? Don't we all?
Maybe. Then could we yada 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 that
I mean,
part?
we can. If
we
there's
could yada
anything,
yada yada that part.
If there's anything that's kind of jumping out at you,
Well, not necessarily, because I feel like if you're watching this, you kind of know where Harley Quinn comes from, but she kind of gets brainwashed by the Joker, electrotherapy, the thing where this is gonna hurt real bad or something like that. Really bad. Yeah. So that was a little just a tribute back to how she was manipulated by the Joker. Yeah. Later on, they became the king and queen of the Gotham Underground, running the crime ring. She became kind of like a brainwashed person in a very bad relationship, you could say. And then
putting it delicately.
In 2014, that's when things get spicy.
Oh, but here's the deal. One very big important thing happened before 2014.
Which one?
Like you're saying, she's born in 1990, right? July 20th, 1990. All this stuff happens. She's the one that jumps into the vat.
Oh,
when Joker,
the transformation.
The transformation, yes. But I'm not
Okay.
even talking about that. The one other very important thing happens after the transformation. While they were the king and queen of Gotham's underworld, what happens?
Right, they killed Mr. Jason Todd boy.
Doom, Robin. No actor, but just a suit.
Yeah.
And the other thing we don't know about this Robin in particular is we don't know if it's Dick Grayson or if they're following the comic book tradition and it's Jason Todd.
According to the sort of as official as I could find it, but again, not really because it's fans really pulling from different sources, the wiki of the DCEU or the DC Films franchise, it's apparently Jason Todd. And he was apparently the second Robin after Dick Grayson. There has been no mention of Dick Grayson. We don't know if he's Nightwing. We don't know what's going on with Affleck Batman, but we do know that a Joker was killed. Harley helped Joker kill Robin. Not a Joker, but a Robin was killed. Harley helped Joker kill Robin.
Best guesses as to which one?
I do think it's Jason.
I think something about it just tells me Jason Todd all day.
I've heard rumors that the director, Batman vs. Superman, wanted it to be Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe that was squashed to be like, well, we might want to use that, like we might want to make a Nightwing movie, which is like
and I think like that to me makes sense because that character has such a rich history of his own. And after he's Batman's partner, protege, mentee, he goes off and he has his own adventures.
Yeah.
And I think it would be you'd be taking a lot away from that character if you never let him explore his own journey and his own path separately from Batman. And especially with this Batman, who's very hell-bent on taking down Joker, Harley, the entire Gotham Underground, and he has his own methods. He's been doing it for 20 years. Yeah. Once we get to BVS, we find out he's been at it for 20 years.
You want to talk about Batman? This is let's talk about Batman for a second. Let's get this dude out of the way because this is very interesting, and it's connected to Joker. Batman was born February 19th, 1972.
Yes.
In Gotham City, New Jersey. And as far as we know, Joker, again, a thing that has been kind of pulled from various sources is that maybe he was born before Batman.
Right.
Which means that there's a 22-year difference.
Age gap between Batman and Joker.
Between Joker and Harley.
Oh, between Joker and Harley. Yeah,
Which is gross.
Yes.
But
which is the grossest thing I can think of at this point.
Batman, but hasn't Joker traditionally always been played a little bit older?
It depends. I mean, it depends. Again, I think.
I guess you look at Heath Ledger, and he definitely was like
same age-ish.
Yes.
Right. I would put him and Batman to be same age-ish. It's just that Harley Quinn being born in 1990, she's a kind of a younger character. So in 1981 is when Batman's parents were killed. In 1994, at age 25, he secretly starts to become Batman.
Yeah.
He's fighting Joker, Penguin, Killer Croc, the Maroni and Falcone crime families. He meets James Gordon, played by J.K. Simmons.
That's right.
Robin gets killed by Joker. So all of this was kind of happening. And again, he had been staying hidden the entire time. Since 1994 up until 2016 when he came out publicly to fight Superman. So that happens, and at some point in 2013 during the events of Man of Steel, we all saw he was there. He was seeing the destruction. So 2016 he teams with Superman after fighting him, teams with Wonder Woman to destroy Doomsday.
Wouldn't that technically still be? No, it was 18 months. So that's that's almost 2015 timeline,
Gotcha, somewhere in there. Right. And then after that, at the end of Suicide Squad, he meets with Amanda Waller for that information on metahumans to lead into, let's go into the future. Batman is, in 2017, he sends Diana Prince a picture from World War I, and then he recruits the Justice League. They resurrect Superman. They fight Steppenwolf, and he saves the world. All of that happens in the future. This is Batman living in the future.
Okay.
But he had been hidden for 20 years. He loses a Robin, and then we're back over here with Harley and Joker. So where are we now?
Nice. So now we are caught up currently at the beginning, right before shit goes down, really, with Monster T.
Yes.
Dude.
Our boy Common over here.
Our boy Common.
He was done dirty in this
movie.
movie.
Your lady, Joker. That's your woman. That's your lady.
I would have done the same thing, though. I would have done the same thing because I'm like, bro, that's gross, dude.
Yeah. Apparently Monster T was like an ally of the Joker.
Yeah.
He goes to his club where Joker owns a strip club in 2014.
Of course he does.
Harley's dancing. We all remember that scene. And then Joker shoots him.
Dude.
And so he's dead. So right after this happens, that's when Batman goes to chase him down.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Joker kind of sacrifices Harley.
He does in a way because he completely bails out of the car. Harley gets thrown into the water. Batman goes after her, and Batman is very resistant. He's like,
knocks her out underwater.
He's like, yeah, well, I mean, she comes at him with a knife, and he's like, not today. Pops her one, and then he has to bring her back. Do mouth to mouth, but you can tell he's like, I really don't want to do this because I don't trust her, and this just feels wrong.
Yeah.
And of course, what does she start doing? She starts making out with him, and he's like, all right, time to throw you into Arkham Asylum.
So she at one point gets transferred. Now this is after 2014, somewhere in there for Harley.
We're heading into Suicide Squad territory.
Yeah,
yes.
This is now deep into the 12 intros of Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And listen, rewatching that movie, I was serious.
They were even worse than before.
Yeah, I know. And I was serious when I said, here's my feelings on the movie.
Yeah.
I like so much of this cast.
Uh-huh.
I like so many of these characters.
The cast is not the problem, in my opinion.
It's this thing of I kind of do want to see a version of this movie that is cut chronologically because I would like to see 2014 Harley Quinn dealing with Monster
build up
T,
of the relationships.
then
and
I'd
all
like
that
to see all these other characters, their sort of backstory, and then bring us up to 20 minutes into the movie. Boom! It's now the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
So who's the next sort of characters that we meet here?
Well, this is where we move into the jail and sort of like this
Belle
12 intros kind of thing. We
Belle
go
Reve,
into
Belle Reve, whatever they decide
Belle
to call
Reve,
it.
prison, asylum, whatever we want to call it. We meet Hunter Griggs and Amanda Waller. Hunter Griggs is just kind of like the head of security who apparently has dealt with basically everybody at this point. He's already up there.
There he is.
He's already thrown in the mix. So he knows about Harley Quinn's ways.
That's right.
And he basically knows about everybody's ways because doesn't he go in and meet everybody in the jail at that point?
You want some Piscetti? A little bit of toenails?
Yeah.
You're like,
I
don't even remember that line, Adam. Did you just?
Yeah, it's a line from the movie. He's sadistic. He is abusive.
He's gross.
He's one of these prison guards.
He takes very much advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
He will physically abuse and mentally hurt any inmate that's in there because he knows he can get away with it.
He enjoys it. It looks like he really much enjoys it.
Yeah,
and then
very
let's
much.
finish off this character too. So Hunter Griggs, he is this abusive senior officer at Belle Reve.
Yes.
And then during the events of the movie, he gets kidnapped
by
and
the
tortured
Joker.
and forced to work with the Joker.
Yes.
And then
Joker forces him to for Hunter to give Harley Quinn a phone so he can be in communication with Harley Quinn, which is how Joker's able to find her.
You guys are... I blocked all of this out of my head.
Listen, it helped to refresh and do all this wiki research.
No, I'm just saying that it's like when you go through a traumatic experience and your brain just blocks it out. That's what happens.
Just like Wolverine, dude.
Yes.
I get
it. So he ends up being recruited. He ends up connecting Joker with Harley, and then we sort of don't know the fate of this character. They don't explicitly say whether or not dead, alive, survived, escaped.
Yeah.
We don't know. As far as we know, he could have been strapped up by his legs and skinned alive by the Joker.
Because Harley did say, you're so screwed.
Yep.
He's like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And we just leave him in a panic state.
That's right.
So fate is unknown. Hunter Samuel Griggs, he's off the sort of the board, as it were. And
we'll
Joker's still in play.
in the dead or missing board.
So then Amanda Waller, very interesting character, wonderful character, has got an interesting history. I assume it's similar to the comics, but basically before 2016, at some point, becomes a director of Argus.
Yes.
Which I looked it up to confirm. It stands for Advanced Research Group Uniting Superhumans. And then at some point she met Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor talks about meeting Waller in something.
Which makes sense. I mean, with Waller and Luthor being such big superpowers in the DC universe, both in the movies, comics, and any other story that they've sort of featured those characters, and in BVS, Luthor already sort of knowing the identities of these characters, it makes sense that she would take advantage of that situation and recruit and take any information about any superhuman being so she can form Task Force X.
I think it's very interesting the way they showed her in the movie. The intro scene where they showed her eating a very rare piece of steak. That gave her kind of like a very cutthroat, like I don't care, I'm just gonna blah, 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 blah. Like
chew you up.
Chewing is kind of gross, but it kind of adds to the character, which makes you think, okay, she's gonna do whatever it takes,
absolutely,
even if it's gross, to like get whatever she needs done. So we get a pretty nice intro to her. Let's move on to our first member of the Suicide Squad.
Really
Task
quick
Force
about Amanda Waller. Do you think that Amanda Waller, because Task Force X was sort of set up as a deterrent for another being like Superman but evil, do you still think that Amanda Waller had a faith in Superman, or do you think she was fully just like, nope?
I think absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right? Because the whole point was like, what if he was bad?
Right.
Exactly.
And I think that she creates Task Force X, and it's way easier to say Suicide Squad.
It is. Task Force X is harder
It's
to say.
clunky. It's easier to read in the comic book, but I think that the whole pitch in the beginning was like, we were lucky Superman was good, but what if he was bad?
Right.
And so I think that helps. And then the other thing that helps in her pitch, we'll get to it later.
What if she was bad?
Yeah.
Slipknot. Let's get Slipknot in here.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
We need a climber to take down evil Superman.
We need a rope expert.
So she's recruiting all of these characters. Now here's a great character. Boom.
Floyd
Deadshot,
Lawton.
baby, Deadshot. He ends up in custody later. We'll get to that. But for now, Deadshot is the first sort of like standout member of the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Floyd Lawton, Will Smith. One of the highlights of the movie.
Yeah.
100%.
He's got basically a superpower, that like perfect aim, you know.
Yes.
And he's got some interesting backstory. He's born in '78. And we saw in the movie he killed an informant for his client. Angelo.
I don't see any zeros on
and
here.
then when Angelo pissed him off, he's like, I'm going to need you to double that. And then it was $2 million. So, like, that's cool. So that all happens before.
I felt bad for Will Smith's back because he was carrying this entire
Yeah. There's a lot of weight to carry.
He must have been buff.
Well, and I think, like, the thing that I loved about this movie, again, we talked about the cast. It's a really, really great cast.
Yeah.
And I feel like Will Smith and Margot Robbie were the only two actors, because of their charm and personality and wit and all that stuff, they were really able to just bring out a lot of themselves in their characters.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it really helped carry the whole movie all the way through, whereas, you know, actors like Joel Kinnaman and some of the other actors, I was actually really surprised about another character that we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, Will Smith definitely carried a lot of this movie on his own.
And here's the other thing I will say: when we saw the movie, rewatched it, we talked about how stoked we were for James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Right? Because if anybody can take this world and some of these characters and make you love them and then break your heart, it's going to be James Gunn. So I'm holding out hope that we're going to see Will Smith's Deadshot again.
I think so.
He in 2013, scroll up a little bit. In 2013 is where he got arrested by Batman.
Yeah.
By Batman with that little scene
in front of your daughter,
with his
Deadshot.
daughter.
He beat the crap out of him in front of his
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah, so
Come on,
he
Batman.
gets transferred to Belle Reve at some point, and then in 2016, boom, Suicide Squad. And at the end of the movie, he's given 10 years off of his sentence, plus he's given visitation with his daughter, which is a nice little moment.
Yeah.
And that's basically Deadshot. That's
right
there.
on. Moving up next, we have Mr. Captain Boomerang. Mr. Jai
good
Courtney.
day, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Bam.
Mr.
You and I
Boomerang, who
will be rich
has
together.
knives.
Yeah.
Boomerang knives.
Mr. Boomerang with knives?
Yeah.
And a pink unicorn.
That's right.
Born December 9th, 1985 in Korumburra, Australia.
Korumburra.
Probably mispronounced that.
Yeah, probably.
Poor at age 15, robbed a general store with his buddy thanks to a boomerang. This is weird. He's got a whole interesting backstory.
He does.
His stepfather, who wasn't his real father, banishes him from the house. So his mom helps him go find his real dad, who lives in Central City, United States, Central City, Ohio. His real father, biological father, is a guy named W.W. Wiggins, who has a Wiggins game company. And then he starts working for his real dad as a salesman, and he's good with boomerangs. So then his dad gives him the nickname Captain Boomerang. So he starts robbing stores because he's like, "Oh, I'll use my boomerangs to rob stores."
Boomerang,
and
mate.
that's when he gets captured by the Flash.
Yeah.
And then he escapes because he was using a fake name. So then he goes back to Australia, continues to be Captain Boomerang the criminal, then comes back to the U.S. to do that again, captured by the Flash again, transferred to Belle Reve.
No honor among thieves, eh?
Guys, least interesting character in this movie,
But-
I would say.
And they tried to give him something.
I would say
They
least
tried,
interesting
they tried.
character, but I would say that Jai Courtney really surprised me with the performance.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times Jai Courtney is kind of forced to play a hero or just a role that doesn't really fit him.
doesn't
With
fit him,
this,
yeah.
he was really able to just embrace his humorous charm, which I didn't know he even had. And for me, it really, really worked. And it's probably one of my favorite roles that he's done.
Yeah.
Next up.
Anyways, let's move on
Chato
to
Santana.
a very problematic stereotype of a character.
Orale, way. What are you talking about? That fool's real, dude.
El Diablo, Holmes.
What can we say about El
He's
Diablo?
representing Boyle Heights, Holmes.
I like Jay Hernandez so much.
He's a great actor.
I
great
feel
actor.
for him. Jay has talked about how he was feeling a lot of frustration in Hollywood, and then this role came along, and it kind of brought him back. He was almost to the point where he was going to quit acting. The unfortunate thing is he gets this role that to me is not great representation. No. It's another sort of stereotype.
All stereotypes.
And different than the stereotype of like, well, Captain Boomerang has an Australian accent. He's an Aussie. Like that's stereotypical. He's like
and a boomerang is very stereotypical Australian.
Yeah, but the difference is that like the president of the United States isn't saying that Australia's sending rapists and you know what I mean? That's the difference. There's a social structure.
It is.
And Chato Santana, the character, has a tragic backstory, but by the end of the movie, did not live. Like he died.
Yeah.
You know, one of those sort of like.
Sacrifice one for the team.
Yeah, and it's like I get that on paper, but I feel like the movie didn't
earn it.
It didn't earn it. Didn't build it up enough.
Didn't
earn it.
Yeah.
The other thing too is Jay's such a handsome dude, and he's covered behind the tats.
Yeah.
And I understand that in the comic book that's the character, and that's very like true to the character. But look, man, he's like let me look around. He's like the only Mexican guy in the. He's one of the. There's lots of shades of beautiful browns, which is great. But he's like the only Latino guy.
Yeah.
And the other characters went through changes from comic book page to movie. So could that have been a change? Could that, I am fine with his tragic backstory. He was just born with these powers. He's, at age 17, the character becomes a gang member, and he's called El Diablo. Mm-hmm. He was suspected of murdering some people, so then he marries this woman and kind of settles down and has 2 kids. He marries Grace. When she's confronting him in that flashback, like he accidentally burns the house down and they die. Yeah. And it's kind of similar to the comic backstory, kind of not. But again, all of that's fine. It's just that if he, as a character, is not allowed to let me relate it to Star Wars. The character El Diablo in Suicide Squad was not deemed worthy enough to live, even though he accidentally killed people or purposely killed people in his past. And so when everyone's talking about Ben Solo being redeemed and, Kylo Ren, I was like, you kill that motherfucker.
Yeah,
I was like, this dude should die.
He should.
Because
he's done so many bad things.
He's done so many bad things. He killed Han Solo. He did, So, and truly, it's different than like Zuko, one of the best redeeming sort of villain characters,
ever.
The best. But I understand wanting to have a Zuko-type character.
Right.
I just think that it's interesting to see which characters are deemed worthy of that redemption and which are not.
Right.
And could the character of El Diablo have been like a beautiful, heroic, authentic Mexican, like all of that?
If he had his own movie, maybe.
Yeah, or even if they had sort of treated that character differently, even in this movie.
And it's tough too because we know all the issues with the movie. So when you get to the end and he's like, you're my family, and you're like, this was not earned.
Like, what, all of a sudden because Rick Flagg yelled at you?
Like
because that's why you're family?
Will Smith was like, I was just trying to get you there, man.
Yeah,
It's just like, okay.
There's no family building moments here. I don't want to be a part of that family.
He sort of, enlarges himself and fights Incubus.
He becomes an Aztec warrior.
He becomes an Aztec warrior.
Aztec warrior.
And kind of kills, he dies. He's dead. Yeah. So he sacrifices himself, so he's in the dead pile.
He gets skabooted out of the DC franchise.
He's in the graveyard. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay.
This weird character, Mr. Killer Croc, who walks but then sometimes decides to crawl.
And another one that's got some stereotypes where it's just like BET, really?
Yeah.
That's what
he works his whole life and risks his life just to get a BET channel in his cell.
So one of the older in-story characters, born in 1968, June 3rd, 1968 in Tampa, Florida. His mom,
a rare skin disorder.
Yep. His mom dies in childbirth. His father abandons him. He's raised by an alcoholic aunt. This is like classic villain sort of backstory. He's in reform school, juvenile hall. He's arrested for robbery, incarcerated. He murders an inmate. He avoids a death penalty, but he spends 18 years in prison.
Yep.
He gets out, and by this time, he joins a traveling carnival. He becomes a crocodile wrestler. They call him Killer Croc. And I think by this point, his like skin thing had kind of
fully evolved
to where it is.
Yeah.
So at some point before 1994, he moves to Gotham City, or maybe even after. And he becomes this mob enforcer moving up. But after, at some point from 1994 to 2016,
somewhere,
he fights Batman, is sort of defeated, and then it leaves Gotham because he's like, it's too hot. And it's when he leaves Gotham that he's captured by an Argus SWAT team
and brought to Belle
transferred to Belle Reve, et cetera, et cetera. You know the story. And now at the end of the movie, Waylon Jones is in custody.
He's watching BET.
But,
No, not yet.
Not
Oh
till
wait,
the end.
no,
By
that's
the end of
after
the movie.
Yeah, by
Yeah,
the end
now
of the
he
movie,
is.
he's
Yeah,
caught.
yeah.
Now
He's
he
watching.
is, yeah.
So
Yeah,
he's
not in the
enjoying.
beginning.
He's having a good time in his cell.
And he's beautiful.
This next character I actually liked a lot more than Captain Boomerang.
Which character is that?
Dr. Van Croc.
Oh,
Dr.
man.
Van Chris.
Boom. Dr. Van
Van
Chris.
Homie just gets straight up stabbed
Yeah,
in the
dude.
neck.
Here's another similar to Hunter Griggs.
You could just throw him here, Hector. It's
Yeah.
not like we have a lot to say about Dr. Van Chris.
He also has a weird backstory, though. For real, like sometime before 2015, it works for Wayne Enterprises weapons department.
Yeah.
Designs the through his research at Van Chris Laboratories, develops the nanobomb, and then Amanda Waller purchases that technology.
Already cooler than Dr. Boomerang.
Dr. Boomerang. Dr. Van
Boomerang.
Chris. So then 2016, same thing, right? Griggs tells Joker about the bombs and about how Task Force X is going to
So
work.
he needs the doctor
Goes and gets him.
to disarm them.
To disarm
Teach
them.
them to disarm them, yeah.
And to get him to do what he wants, he puts a bomb in his neck. And he
right.
also shows him like an iPad of like his wife being tortured.
Because, of course, villain
So,
shit.
Yeah, so he does that. He's killed not because of the bomb exploding, but later when like Joker's plane goes down.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
this
that's
dude
right.
dies, and then so does Johnny Frost. But we'll get to him later. Okay. Who's next, Augustine?
My favorite character in this entire franchise. Justice from my boy
Christ.
Slipknot.
Justice.
Adam Beach. Great actor.
Great actor.
You know
So
what?
wasted.
Now I know why he was so pissed off at that Hall H panel we saw him. He was the last one to come in, and
Yeah.
he just sat down. And he was just like,
So, Adam, tell us about your role.
I'm in the movie.
I'm in there.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in a movie called
Poor
Suicide
guy.
Squad.
Also frustrating because, again, you've already got a Batman Ben Affleck cameo.
Yeah.
You've got a Flash Ezra Miller cameo
Yep.
because he takes down Captain Boomerang.
Right.
Maybe this would have been a little bit too much to get Gal Gadot, but what's the interesting thing about this dude's backstory, Augustine?
Oh, the interesting thing is that Slipknot did something so bad that they had to call Wonder Woman to catch his ass.
Yeah.
Apparently.
2002, he was captured by Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And all the way from 2002 to 2016, is he in jail? Did he get out? It's unclear.
No
I'm not
idea.
sure. But he also has a cool, like, this is, again, the bummer of, I wish that this thing was,
Yeah.
if we had gotten a flashback of that,
Oh, my
I
God.
would have been
Right,
like,
right.
dude, Slipknot's tight,
Yep,
dude. This is
yep.
cool. So
What did he do?
Born same year as our friend Augustine.
1984, baby.
February
Right.
23rd, 84, in
Yep.
Montgomery, Alabama,
Uh-huh.
into a tribe of Salto Native
Salto.
Americans.
Yeah, we probably said the name incorrectly,
Probably
but
butchered it.
important
So-
that he's a Native American character.
So according, like in his Native American upbringing, he learns like professional rope climbing.
Yeah.
Then he works as a formulation chemist at Leaston Howard Incorporated. He invents this adhesive that's very powerful. So then he starts to become a professional criminal, and he uses that adhesive on his burglary tools.
Yeah.
Very important. He just decides to be
Yeah.
a criminal.
I don't know.
I can climb up buildings.
It's
I'm
not
out
a
of here.
tragic
Yeah.
story. It's just
so
like
many of
he's
these.
just like,
it's
fuck,
like
dog, I could steal this money right now.
him and Captain Boomerang. They all had like legit jobs, but they're like, you
Yeah.
know what though? I could make more
Stealing's
money.
better.
Like
I could burgle.
robbing banks.
That's
I could
right.
burgle.
Yeah.
So he does that, becomes known as Slipknot. He's like an assassin or mercenary known as
I don't.
Slipknot.
I
captured
definitely.
by Wonder Woman.
I definitely don't think that this will ever be addressed in a Wonder Woman movie because they said if they do a third one, it will be present day.
Yeah.
But it would be
Would that be
really
cool?
It would be really cool if we had either an epilogue or a prologue. An epilogue for this
listen,
movie,
or even
that
if-
talks about like Wonder Woman jumping into like
Even
in
if-
our modern time.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Even if like Wonder Woman 3
Yeah.
has some character talking to Diana, like Diana, you've done so much. You've captured. You fought so many characters, so many people like Dr. Psycho, Cheetah, Slipknot. Just throw his name in there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Captured the infamous
Just,
Slipknot.
Yeah, just throw him in there. So he dies because Boomerang tricks him to being like, "Oh,
And
the
his-
the
Let's
bombs
go.
aren't real.
Let's
Come
go,
on,
dude."
mate. Let's go, dude."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay,"
Let's go,
and
dude.
then immediately dies in this
Yeah.
movie.
He's in the
Poor
movie
guy.
for what, 6 minutes?
I think he has the
not
least
even.
screen time out of probably
Oh,
any
for
character
sure.
that's on there.
I think
yeah.
the extras had more screen time
Yeah,
than
I
him.
think so.
I think
Poor guy.
Van Chris had more screen time.
Justice
for
for
sure.
Slipknot, dude.
Justice
Let's
for
give him-
For
Slipknot.
real.
Seriously, Christopher Weiss is his real
his
name.
real name, yeah.
Super deceased. So he's in the graveyard.
Super dead.
Super dead. Okay.
Up
who's
next, we have our boy
Augustine?
Mr. Rick Flagg.
All
He
American.
was the
hero.
All-American
Wait,
military.
I love how Hector's like way over here.
Yeah.
All American hero. Rick
Messing it
Flag.
up. Rick
Drop
Flag.
that. Boom.
There he is.
There he is.
Boom.
Thank you.
Nice,
You're tall.
nice,
I'm gonna
nice.
hand these to you. You're tall.
Yeah.
So he's working with Waller.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his backstory before 2016?
Graduated
He's
from
like
West Point.
Army guy.
Served on a number of tours. in the United States military, assigned to Argus under the jurisdiction of Amanda Waller. I mean, look, next to Deadshot, I would say he's probably one of the most skilled people with a weapon in Task Force X.
Right.
But he kind of comes across as very bland in this movie.
Totally.
Unfortunately.
So vanilla.
Here's another crazy, interesting thing. He's got some relationships with some of these characters, namely June Moon, who we'll get to, and he just meets Katana.
This is Katana.
And like,
she's got my back.
Blade.
AKA
her sword will steal souls.
Tatsu Yamashita. We'll get to Katana, but like she has a crazy backstory, and she just comes into the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
This is Katana. She's my bodyguard. This dude convinced this woman to be his bodyguard.
How?
That's what I'm asking.
How?
Whose soul does he have?
So
exactly.
That happens, and then in 2016, he gets assigned to
Task
Force X to become the field leader. And then he has this relationship with Enchantress, a.k.a. June Moon, and then, gets wrapped up in it and saves Amanda Waller. The Suicide Squad movie happens, et cetera, et cetera.
We'll probably get into it, but I am very curious to see what Rick Flagg's role will be in not Birds of Prey, but in the Suicide Squad.
I agreed. Yeah, I think that he, can be a really...
There's 26 people cast in that movie, and I guarantee that at least half will probably perish.
So far, who are the returning folks in this? We've got a Harley Quinn, Amanda Waller, Rick Flag, Boomerang, and I think that's it.
That's it so far.
And I don't think any of these guys are coming back.
And there was like a lot of rumors and stuff that Joker was going to be in it. Jared Leto, I think the Joker might be in it in a flashback capacity, but I don't think it's going to be Jared Leto
in the
playing
Suicide
him.
Squad.
Yeah.
I've also heard the same for Birds of Prey. That the
Joker Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. That's what
I'm talking about. Sorry.
Okay. Not the
but in the Suicide Squad, I don't think Joker will probably be a part of it at all.
Or maybe just like a CG version of him somewhere.
Driving in a car.
Yeah.
I want to get... Adam, you got to tell us the backstory of Katana. And then, Augustine, I want to get your take on this because I think it's super badass.
Yeah.
And this is one of these things where I was just like, I wish more of this was in this movie.
Yeah, so born March 16th, 1986 in Tokyo, Japan, which I really want to go to. I've heard beautiful things about it. Travel 2020. Tatsu trained in various martial arts at a young age. Her parents... Who are dead, obviously. Started a family with Masao Yamashita.
She starts a family with Masao.
She starts. Births twin girls, Yuki and Reiko. Masao's brother, Takeo, joins the Yakuza. Comes across two mystical swords.
So apparently Takeo also loved Katana, also loved Tatsu.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like she chose the brother Masao, or like she was in love with him. So So Takeo goes and joins the Yakuza, and he's the one who finds these two swords. So then
Trap the souls.
He brings the swords to his brother, demands that they duel for Tatsu, which is so like cliche. Like it's so I'm like this is the backstory for Splinter.
Samurai.
What are you
exactly,
doing?
Exactly.
So then Takeo
I didn't even think about
like
sounds like a white guy just read the Ninja Turtles movie and then made a backstory.
So they're fighting.
They're
fighting and Tatsu, aka Katana, but she's not Katana yet. She shows up to see her husband and his brother fighting, and because her husband gets distracted, because I think he's trying to save the two daughters or whatever, he gets killed by the Soul Taker.
Yeah.
And
so
the
then
sword absorbs his soul,
and the house is like burns down, or like the kids are already dead, and she escapes with that sword. She hears her husband talking out of it, and then she just leaves, and then Tatsu starts to begin training with a master called Tadashi. Then she kind of graduates from that, goes to the United States for some reason, takes the name Katana, and becomes like a mercenary. Meets Rick Flag.
Becomes his bodyguard.
Yeah.
Not just meets him, becomes his bodyguard somehow. Yeah.
That was a very interesting. It just shows you how like the film was sort of
very ambitious,
chopped up, and a lot of stuff was just sort of like it just happened for the sake of the story.
Here's my question: did that backstory make her cooler to you, or the same, or less?
It definitely makes her cooler, just because I feel like the sword has to come from somewhere. This sword is too important right now. Yeah. Like even her as we have tons of specialized swordsmiths inside the whole universe of superheroes. This very particular sword has a very particular purpose, which I want to know about. And knowing that backstory, maybe that's why she was crying when she opened it up and she's like, oh, she's so sad. Does it have the souls of her husband?
I think there was a lot of stuff that's in that movie that didn't make it in.
Yeah.
That has to do with Katana and her backstory.
Yeah.
And, I do think that having a little bit of this backstory, it gives the character more layers and depth.
Yeah.
Whether or not we'll ever see that explored, very much unknown. I would like to. and it seems like a lot of the people that they got for this movie were very enthusiastic about the characters. So I would really hope that at some point, we could. I don't know if necessarily I'd want a Katana movie,
right?
But if they made a movie that's just called Task Force X, but it's like a prequel movie of some kind, then maybe it's possible to have like Amanda Waller, Joel Kinnaman, and Katana. I don't know, like if it would be interesting enough, or if they could really like justify why it would be made. But I would like to see more from this character in the backstory. But it also feels a little bit like, hey, you know, we did it. This is the version that we went with. Let's move forward and let's focus on new characters.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
So to just sort of recap, now I feel like we have the Suicide Squad set up.
Yeah.
The characters that have died will either die later or have already died. The rest of these characters are kind of not super important. And this is all happening in 2016, right? They get recruited. They get put into an evacuation point outside Midway City. They're given their costumes and weapons.
Right.
They go in because they're trying to get High Value Target 1, HVT1. HVT1. You learn that that's Amanda Waller herself because she was like trapped or whatever.
Yeah.
So then Joker doing his thing, he comes into play because he's got this homie, boom, Johnny Frost, who's
nice to meet you.
helping Joker. They steal one of Amanda Waller's helicopters.
Yeah.
Because it's confusing, but Rick Flag came in with like 2 squads of army dudes.
Which
and
is
like,
not very clear.
And one of them has like, you know, okay, this dude's in it
Fodder,
too. Boom,
yeah.
Clint Eastwood's son.
GQ.
Scott Eastwood, a.k.a. Edwards is his last name. So he's there somewhere. But these guys like steal a helicopter, try to go save Harley. She gets the thing deactivated by Van Chris. She gets in the copter. Remember this whole part? And they're like, and Amanda Waller's like, Deadshot, kill her. And then he fires and misses.
Yeah.
He goes, I missed because she like plays dead. And then, but then that helicopter is like crashing and she jumps out. She thinks the Joker's dead.
Right.
Pretty much nobody on that crew makes it except for Joker.
Unnecessarily convoluted. But
All
we
this to
digress.
say, Johnny Frost, what is his backstory? I don't know. He's working for the Joker.
Yeah.
He's there when Monster T gets killed.
He's a bad dude.
So he's just dead.
He's
in
a
the
bad
He's in the deceased.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
The deceased pile. And the same thing with GQ later. He ends up getting blown up when he sets the charge to take down the big bad.
With Killer Croc, and I thought Killer Croc was also dead.
But
not
I
the
guess,
case.
I guess he's strong.
He was scurrying underwater.
Yeah.
And the last sort of characters that we can kind of bring into play here are the big bads who are, first of all, boom, archaeologist June Moon.
Can we get that for you there, buddy?
Thank you, my friend.
There you go.
Drop that down because she lives. She makes it to the end. And she gets paired up with Rick Flag.
That's right.
But she
a
is
little love.
She
a
is
little deception.
Possessed by.
There you go. Right there. Boom.
Okay. And then Enchantress is the big bad along with her brother Incubus. Help me out with that one.
Real dumb.
Nice to know you.
Real dumb.
Incubus. These 2 guys are the big bad. They get killed, but they have a pretty crazy backstory that is like okay, so they entered our world.
Oh my God.
In 4358, 4357 BC.
This isn't even the right paper.
That is the wrong paper.
They're worshipped as gods by pre-Columbian South Americans, but at some point they're defeated because they're like betrayed by their people because you know they're evil. They're trapped in containers and they're put into the Tres Osos caves, the 3 bears in Peru for millennia.
I think it's very weird that Enchantress just looks like Cara Delevingne.
Yeah.
Couldn't she look like another person and then inhabit the body of June Moon and then change her appearance to Cara Delevingne? It's a nitpick. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't think that matters at this point.
Like I said, archaeologist Dr. June Moon, when she's camping, and actually head to her deal because she's got an interesting thing too.
To June Moon?
June Moon at some point hears in 2010 apparently is when she first hears the Enchantress's voice when she's on a field expedition and she freaks out and then she takes a leave of absence.
She's like, no, I'm out of here. Bye.
From her like studies or whatever.
Dude, I would too. Are you kidding me?
And she was born in 1988 in Washington, D.C., June Moon. So when she takes a break, then it goes back to sort of 2016 thereabouts where she goes to the cave, the Tres Osos, unlocks her, becomes possessed, becomes Enchantress. Amanda Waller
her soul.
gets word of it, and Amanda Waller sends Rick Flag, knowing that they're going to fall in love, like to protect her, recruit her, but also...
Did him and June Moon already have some sort of a backstory together?
No.
We don't know.
None. No way to tell.
As far as I know, none.
Yeah. No way
to
It's
tell.
literally, it's just like 2 good-looking white people
She
meet.
knew Rick Flag was a thirsty boy.
They're going to fall in love. He's thirsty. I'm going to send him to this pretty model, actress woman. So he falls for June. She falls for Rick. And Amanda Waller planned that so that she could have leverage on both.
Yes.
And at one point,
she holds her heart hostage. Are you kidding me?
Literally.
So like when Enchantress is already recruited, she sends another team back to the cave to find like the heart so that she could control her. But then there's also another bottle with her brother in it.
Yes.
Incubus. And after, this is a little bit confusing as well. After Amanda Waller's presentation to the Pentagon of like, here's what I want to do, Task Force X. Oh, I don't know if we can do that. Then she has Enchantress go to Tehran to steal some military plans and come back, and they're like, military plans.
Shit.
Then they allow the thing to go forward.
We'd like Dr. Moon back, please.
Yeah, after that. this
stabs her heart.
This was the coolest part of the movie right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that effect
that was really good.
That was dope.
That was actually dope.
I don't know if you could see it. And then,
can't. Do it.
I'll do it right here. It was this effect. I'm Enchantress. That thing.
I changed my clothes.
So Enchantress in the middle of the night escapes, possesses June Moon, escapes, goes back to the Tres Osos, frees her brother, brings him to a subway.
Midway City.
Opens him up and is like, go find some dude.
Absorb
multiple people to become Incubus. And then that was the threat that made the Suicide Squad need to be called out.
Yeah.
But then when they get called out, Enchantress escapes again, joins him. They make a machine to change,
which is trash in the sky.
Trash in the sky to terraform the Earth, and they make all those putties that the squad has to fight. All of this to say, Incubus is exploded at the end because of the help of El Diablo and GQ pulling this bomb. But Enchantress, this is what's interesting.
He was such a bad villain.
Yeah.
David Ayer was right when he said that Joker should have been the villain.
This is what's most interesting. We're talking about how cool Katana was. Katana's sword is the one that cuts open Enchantresses, but like Katana's not the one to do it.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. It was like Deadshot or Harley or somebody else. It was Harley, and then Deadshot's the one to like shoot a charge to blow, And it's like, how cool would it have been if it was Katana?
Right.
That
the soul is now trapped in my sword.
Yeah, like that just did it. I don't know. It would have been cool. But good news is Cara Delevingne comes out of the goo at the end. The day is
She's
saved.
Goo-free.
That's right. She
Dr.
does come out of the goo at the end. Dang.
So now this is what's very interesting. Okay, you have this whole adventure happen. Harley Quinn gets put back in prison along with these three guys, and they get certain perks.
Yeah.
And then Joker busts her out.
Yeah.
And this is some point some point after 2016.
Yeah.
And now from 2016 to 2020, 4 years later, sometime during that period,
Harley
they
gets
break
the
up.
hell out of there.
She gets the hell out of there.
Emancipated.
They break
gets
up.
the fuck out of Dodge.
The emancipation has begun. So that's basically all you need to know. And it's like, what does the breakup entail? We don't know.
We'll find out in the movie, it looks like.
We're going to see it. We're going to see what happened, what was the cause. But, for how long were they, like, happy together again? I'm not sure. But
if at all?
If at all. But that has been Harley Quinn's entire journey up to this point and all the other characters that she met along the way.
Yeah, and I would say the big thing for Harley Quinn, we get to see firsthand in Suicide Squad just how toxic her relationship is with the Joker and how manipulated she becomes by that character and what that sort of does to her psyche and what it does to her sort of mentally and physically, her whole physical transformation, becoming one of the biggest villains in Gotham City, in the criminal underworld of Gotham City. So now I think going forward, the thing that intrigues me the most is we will obviously see in some form, whether it's a prologue or some sort of like recap of what happens to Harley Quinn and how she gets the hell out of there and becomes, how she's emancipated and sort of given this, how she earns her freedom from the Joker.
Right.
And I think to me, that's going to be the most interesting part of her story, is seeing what's going to be her next phase of the evolution of her character. Because it's a little convoluted, sort of what the arc of Harley Quinn is by the end of Suicide Squad.
Right. Yes.
I sort of felt
I don't
like
think there is an arc.
Yeah, like I feel like she kind of starts and ends in the same place.
Absolutely.
Being Joker's girl.
And I think it's that building blocks of you need to have that before you get the independent Harley.
Yeah, I don't think you could have started with Birds of Prey.
No,
you needed to see the backstory.
You needed to see the backstory. That's part of Harley Quinn's history and her journey, and it's going to strengthen the independence. It's going to strengthen her breaking off from that abusive relationship, and that has become really the driving force for the character of Harley in pop culture since.
Yeah, really.
That's really, you know what I mean. And that's what's one of the most interesting things about her is that separation and that independence, and for her to come into
while
her
still
own.
keeping her personality and her identity as Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. I think this will be a really good. You guys just made me think about that. Like the fact that she started and ended in the same place maybe might be the strongest point of why Birds of Prey should happen.
Needed to happen.
Because she's in a state of arrested development by the end of this movie, where she's still falling back into this creeper's, plans and brainwashing and everything. Terrible relationship that she should not be a part of, and she will hopefully be emancipated.
Yes. In case that you weren't clear, that's our official stance on hyperheroes, is that she should not be with the Joker. He's a bad dude.
Abusive, terrible relationship.
I also think it will be interesting to see sort of the evolution of her story in Birds of Prey, because if she's in the Suicide Squad, it means that there is something that's going to lead her back to that group.
Right.
Or is it going to be Amanda Waller? Is it going to be a person?
Does the squad, under the control of Amanda Waller in that James Gunn movie, just come across Harley outside in the wild?
Right.
We don't know where she's going to be. She might be back in jail, but she might not be. She might just be in the world.
She could be in and out of jail. She could be anywhere. That's the good thing about her. She's almost like the Deadpool of this universe.
Absolutely.
A little bit, yeah.
Absolutely. And I cannot wait to see. I'm hoping to see, and I've been seeing this in the Harley Quinn cartoon show, the animated series, which I've really been loving more and more.
I really need to watch
episode.
that,
It is fantastic, Harley Quinn, and it is all about her and the Joker. And the Joker is such a gaslighting, manipulative bastard that it's really like, this is kind of the most evil he's ever been.
He's a son of a bitch.
The most evil. Because it's like, think about the stuff that the Joker's done.
Yeah.
Like, he was really scary in the comic book Gotham Central.
Yeah.
You've had Jack Nicholson where, he like makes people give him and it's like, that is evil, but it's cartoony, and we're sort of used to that.
Right.
The real evil side of Joker these days is when he tells Harley, I love you, Puddin', because you're just like, get out of there, girl.
Run!
You know what I mean? Like, I've always loved you. And he pushes her out of the car so that Batman has to save her. And then, so there's been such good stuff.
Harley.
But what the show was really smart to do, talking about her identity, is the show has shown through flashbacks and different episodes, is that Harley, as Harleen Quinzel, has always been fucked up and has always been destined to become Harley Quinn. Independent of the Joker, regardless of the Joker, right?
All of her life events.
Irregardless on the side, she was going to be Harley. So, like, Birds of Prey could show us that she wasn't a character who was who had nothing and then met Jared Leto's Joker and it was like, oh, you're everything.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Birds of Prey can show, dude. Even when she was Dr. Harleen Quinzel, she was.
She's still a little crazy.
A little crazy, a little loose, and was really kind of, and at least has the option to make those choices post-Joker to be like, who are you? Who do you want to be?
Right.
And that's really exciting and interesting and stuff. So, yeah.
So we're all looking forward to this now. Very much so.
Yeah. I'm really excited and looking forward to this. I'm excited to see the evolution of her story as a character.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how they sort of play with the events and the how and the why. And on top of that, we're in a really great place right now where we get to explore brand new characters like, the rest of the Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Huntress, Renee Montoya. Just everyone that's in that Black Canary, and anyone who's in that movie that now adds to the world of DC, and we can explore them now. And I do like that movie very much it now feels sort of like focused on a group of characters, whereas this might have had focus, but I think because of many different reasons, things got sort of like
convoluted and
the movie was changed, but I am really looking forward to seeing sort of like, now we have a Harley Quinn story, a movie featuring her where she's the main character. She's got a prominent role. There's a big reason for why we're following her, and I want to know sort of what the next step is for her.
Absolutely.
But I am excited to see some of these other characters potentially show up in future, whether it's Batman movies or probably not Justice League movies, but definitely I think Batman movies or Titans movies.
Yeah.
Or if we get maybe another shot at the Suicide Squad outside of the James Gunn movie.
Who knows?
Really?
Another discussion we could have for another hour is just, what is this going to mean in the bigger stroke of the bigger picture of the universe that they're trying to build here? Where is this going? But I guess we can have that after we watch this movie, where it's kind of like a step forward, really. And then Wonder Woman, and then, dude, it's going to be a good year.
I want to do this again for Wonder Woman. I want to do this
Let's do it again.
Because at least Chris Pine is coming back. There's at least two characters.
And we can bring back
Slipknot.
Slipknot one more time.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, there's a Native American guy in the Wonder Woman movie, too, in the first one. So we could talk
Maybe
about
he's related to
Slipknot, baby. He's got a proud lineage
That would be
of
great.
Native American superheroes.
Okay, so here's all the characters in Suicide Squad. We're following Harley. Birds of Prey comes out in 2 weeks.
February 7th.
If you're watching this early, if you're watching this on YouTube, it comes out in a week.
Yeah.
So get your tickets. I'm stoked.
We for sure did.
Cannot wait.
Very excited to see this.
So excited.
It's going to feel good to go back and walk into a DC movie again, because last year We didn't have one last year.
Shazam.
We had Shazam.
We always forget about Shazam.
I know.
Son of a.
And I really liked Shazam. I had a really fun time with it.
I did too.
And then right before that, we had Aquaman, which I thought was really fun as well.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing. We're pretty lucky that this year, every superhero movie that we're getting, it's going to be fresh because we have a lot of female perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every single
Eternals,
superhero movie coming out this year
Wonder Woman, Birds
is
of Prey,
female directors.
Black
and
Widow.
I love, I think we all love Patty Jenkins with what she did with Wonder Woman.
Yep.
And I'm very excited to see what Kathy Ann does with Birds of Prey.
Absolutely.
And the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Wonderfully said.
Let's wrap it up, Adam.
If you like this, we're going to do some more of these videos for Black Widow, for Wonder Woman, and anything else we want to this year.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's the show, y'all. So, guys, make sure you guys let us know what you thought about this video. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, where do you think the plot line for some of these characters and some of these stories is going to go? Where would you like to see some of these characters go? Do you think that some of these characters have potential to come back in maybe some future movies? You're going to be Chato Santana? Oh,
I know Diablo.
From my boy Slipknot.
Justice for Diablo.
If you guys like the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.